Hi there, I'm Amy Kunkel, Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and blogger over at crazybeautiful.com. I'm going to show you today how I'm using stencils to create fun backgrounds. I have 4 different stencils that I am going to be using. The hearts is here, then the dots, the stars, and the stripes. And these are all really nice big stencils. You can see I've got kind of some paint on them. I use my stencils for mixed media projects and canvas projects. And right now I'm just using some washi tape to secure my stencil down. I'm first going to do the hearts with rose red, and I almost always tend to some sort of ombre technique, which is just because I really love that. So I'm going to do a more concentrated color here at the bottom of the bottom corner here on my card. And I just have a card front that's taped down. It's 4 inches by 5 1/4. And as I go out, I'm going to lessen the amount of color, and even a tiny bit on these for the hearts that are out the furthest. Okay, so my card is ending right there. I'm going to add a tiny bit more depth of color down here. And then, just to kind of create some interest, I'm going to peel this up and slide it over. Okay, I'm just going to move it over slightly so I still have the corner of my card front in view, and I'm going to do that again. So I'm creating another level here of hearts, and when the ink goes on top of the other ink, it's going to create another depth of color. So it's really kind of a fun technique here. Let me show you. So that's 2 layers right there. I'm going to go with my 3rd layer, so I'm going to just move this again. Okay, so that's what that looks like so far. I'm gonna put this back down in the corner. And a couple things that you can do to add layers of color. One of them I did was I took my gel pen and just did some scribbling over these dark hearts. There you go, I think I got them all. So I'm going to make this into a card. I'll post it over on my blog. And I'm going to move on to the dots. Now I kind of thought the dots were easier to line up, and when you have more of a consistent repetitive pattern, it just looks differently than this, which is a lot more organic. It's a little bit more calculated, I guess. Okay, I'm using Night of Navy and a different sponge dauber, and just going for, I'm gonna go, whoops, my paper's shifting. I'm gonna go for a more even color on this one. I kind of had an idea of doing like a rainy day card, and I wanted something that sort of emulated like raindrops. So I'm going to color this all pretty evenly, not doing any kind of ombre coloring. Okay, then once I get all those done, I'm just going to shift my mat or my stencil so that it's covering a different part of my card front. Okay, then this one I'm going to do that technique that I did the first with the heart card, and I'm gonna take my white gel pen and I'm gonna find some concentrated dark dots here. One thing you can also do with this is to take your craft white, which is a pigment ink, and I have a new dauber here. I'm just going to take and add a little layer of white highlighting on top of some of these. Now remember, this will take a little time to dry because it is the craft ink. But I think that's a fun little effect. You can also just use the dauber because it's the same shape as that circle, the same size as that circle, and add a layer of color. So there's that one. Okay, this one for the stars, I'm doing Hello Honey ink, and I'm not doing the concentrated ones. I'm just going to put a bunch of stars on my card. Now this might take a while for my card to be completely filled with stars, but you can really just put as many as you want. You could put just a couple like this and stop after this layer, and it would make a really sweet background for a baby card. So I'm just kind of trying to give you ideas for using your decorative masks, and I think this is a good one. So it's going to keep working, and remember, I'll show you my finished cards over on my blog. Now I'm just flipping this around because I did kind of inadvertently get a lot more stars on the bottom. So by flipping it around, I'm just adding more concentrated stars on the other end. Alright, I think that's pretty even. And for my last one, I'm going to be using Blackberry Bliss and the stripes. Now this particular mask has really long strips, so what I like to do is I like to just tape my lines in place right up next to my card front, because that way they don't wobble around like, you know, like guitar strings. I don't know if guitar strings wobble, but there you go. Okay, so on the Blackberry, I think I'm going to go back to an ombre sort of idea and do darker stripes towards the bottom and lighter stripes as I get closer to the top. This would also pass for designer series paper. It really looks like it's patterned paper, so that would be kind of cool. Okay, now I've shifted it and I'm going to go over this again. It's kind of hard to get an even coating of ink with the daubers, but you can just kind of be aware that the more you go over it evenly, the more it'll blend the color and you won't have little spots of color. I think I'm going to do just one more layer so I get rid of all of the white. There we go. So that was my stripes decorative mask, and it really creates a cool card. So, or a cool card front. I am going to whip these into some cards. And I'll put them over on my blog. But I wanted to show you where I was going to go with this one. I've stamped some images and colored them and cut them out. And these are from the So You photopolymer set. So I think this looks really cool. I'm going to make that into the kind of rays of sunshine coming through, and I've also done this with some clouds, and I think this will just reinforce my idea of a little bit of a rainy day. Okay, I'm just going to tell you real quick with these, the last touch here on my card, I'm going to use 3 different levels of adhesive for my 3 clouds, okay? The first one I glued on with my Tombow adhesive. The second one that I want raised up a tad bit, I'm going to put on with glue dots, and that will give it a little lift off the page. And the last one I'm going to put on with dimensionals. Okay, so that gives the 3 clouds a little bit of variety in depth. Okay, I got my fingers a little inky on this one, but I think that's just a sign of a creative card. So thanks for joining me. See the other cards finished over on my blog, and have a great day.